JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 7th of June 2022. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our jdbrokers.com website, which you can find useful if you click on Start Learning and then Market News and Analysis, and like it is updated on a daily basis. So yeah, check us out here. Now jumping into the charts, guys. The first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So it ended the session slightly in the positive territory, as you can see here. It did push higher initially, but then started drifting lower, and basically, yeah, at the moment it's still okay, still everything's fine, because what I was saying recently, that as long as it remains somewhere above this upside line taken from the low of the 12th of May and also stays above that 27,580 territory, then yes, I'll continue aiming to the upside, where my next target is around the 20,388 level. Now, in terms of the downside, now I would need to see a drop below this downside line and a break of this upside line, of course, at the same time. So yeah, if we get that, then we could start looking at some lower levels. Of course, there is this obstacle that I talked about previously, the 27,073 zone. If that gets cleared, then certainly, yeah, more sellers could join in. But at the moment, any throwback here towards this area, towards this 27,580 zone or this upside line, could be classed as a temporary correction before another possible leg of buying. Now jumping into Shanghai Composite, so look at this, mission accomplished, and we have reached this downside line. I kept on talking about this, and I said that if we push above this 3,160 territory, my next target is the 3,226 and this downside line. So we managed to reach that, and of course now the question is, can we get a break of this downside line? At the moment, I'm going to take a very careful approach here, because again, if this downside line continues to hold, then a bit of a decline here could be possible. And also, one thing that I wanted to see if this is actually going to work out or not, but again, let's not rush into anything. But here, okay, this initially I was looking at this as I thought this they might be as a nice rising wedge pattern here, but as you can see, it got violated on the upside here. So yeah, we can ignore this. This pattern, unless, I mean, it starts going somewhere there. But again, it's already trying to see, what's not there. But anyway, at the moment, I'll keep an eye on this upside line instead. So if we break below this upside line and drop somewhere below this the same 3,160 territory, well, this is where, yeah, we could maybe consider a bit of a move lower, and yep, we could then target this 3,070 territory, and so on and so on. But again, let's go slowly on this one. For now, we're flirting with this downside line. Can we get a clear breakout through it? Well, let's wait and see. Even if we do get that, yes, I'm going to take a cautiously bullish approach because, well, as you can see by this highlighted territory, that's my target for now, or I would say actually this is the level that I'm keeping an eye on, this area that I'm keeping an eye on, in order to get more comfortable with the upside, because I would like to see a break through it and then go for some higher levels. But yeah, if we, like I said, if at the moment I'm keeping an eye on this downside line. The German index DAX. So here you can see that, yeah, the index pushed higher yesterday. It closed in positive territory, managed to clear this 14,600 territory and managed to stay above it. The only problem is that, well, I mean, the US markets did decline a little bit. I mean, they closed in positive territory overall, but initially they were, performing much better in the beginning of the trading session, and then kind of by the end of the session they declined, and just managed to barely close in positive territory. And this kind of also forced the German DAX futures to drift lower, and at the moment the cash index is sitting at around 14,550 level. So we're basically back below this this barrier, this 14,600 zone. So one thing that kind of worked out, I would say, is that we pushed through this 14,600 zone and tested the 200-day EMA perfectly here, which was around that 14,720 zone. And yeah, we then drifted nicely to the downside here. We drifted lower, and we have tested. We're still in the process. I mean, let's see if we can actually test this upside line now. I mean, if we stay below this 14,600 territory, if we continue trading below it, then I might consider maybe this scenario here, where we could see a bit of a retracement and a possible test of this upside line. Now, in case of this upside line getting broken, of course, yes, lower levels could be met, but again, let's go slowly on this one. In the situation, if let's say we push again above this 14,600 territory, yes, I will start slowly aiming to the upside, but we have this 200-day EMA here now, which we will keep an eye on, a close eye on, and yeah, because it could still continue providing resistance. So if we get a clear, nice breakout above it, then that may attract more buyers into the game. So continue monitoring this, guys. We are at a very interesting spot right now. So we're slightly below that 14,600 barrier. Can we climb back above it? Let's wait and see. But at the moment, I would say if we continue to trade below it, then there might be some there might be a larger maybe correction to the downside. Now Nasdaq Composite, guys. So I looked at Nasdaq 100, but today I'm going to look at Nasdaq Composite. So in the same way, similar works in a similar fashion. Okay, now some of you, I have removed all the lines for now. I just wanted to kind of show you what's happening here. So the index is still trading, above this, above the 200-day EMA. Sorry, the 21-day EMA. At the moment, of course, the futures are drifting a little bit to the downside. Again, we will keep an eye on this 21-day EMA. I would say that as long as we stay above it, there is still hope for this one to push higher. The only little issue that I have here, and let me just check if I can grab. Maybe I can use this one. Basically, what I'm talking about here is we might see somewhat of a kind of it's not a good one here. Let me probably use it. Use the lines instead. So this this little pattern it's called like a diamond reversal here. So again, will it be the case again, this is a good question. Such patterns normally result in correction. I mean, in reversals. So either there can be on the top here or on the bottom, but still, yeah, it could be a signal of a bit of a reversal here. Will that happen? We'll have to just wait and see. Let's not rush into anything. I would say, even if it does start moving lower, because the cash index is right now drifting nicely to the downside, slowly to the downside. But let's say if it starts dropping somewhere below this little hurdle, this 11,900 zone, maybe that's where the first kind of worry signal could appear. And if a nice good break below this 11,900 territory could lead to some slightly lower levels. For the upside, I need to see a push above this 12,320 territory in order to get comfortable with the upside, guys. So in other words, at the moment I am playing the waiting game. So yep, and I'm gonna wait and see which way this is gonna break out to. Now the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So still watching this range. I talked about this index last week as well, and yeah, I said that keep your eyes on this area, because at the moment, as you can see, yesterday, for example, we did push higher but failed to kind of let's say overcome that 33,240 territory, and we drifted back down. Then we're now kind of trying to approach this 32,706 zone. The cash index, I think, is currently sitting at around, yeah, slightly above that barrier, slightly above this hurdle, and it still remains above that 21-day EMA. So in other words, we're still stuck here, and we're still observing the price action. So I need to see a clear break through one of these barriers in order to get comfortable with the next short-term directional move, guys. DXY dollar index, look at this one pushing higher, and yep, we are now so we can get rid of this arrow. We are now pushing above this 102.65 territory, and the question is, can we stay above it? Well, I'll continue monitoring the situation, because if we do stay above this barrier, then well, this is where it's it could drift higher, basically without even reaching this upside line here, taken from the low of the 10th of February. So good good performance from the for the dollar here, and it's pushing above this 102.65 territory. Well, again, like I said, let's wait and see, because if it starts acting as a as a safe haven here, I mean, again, and then, well, maybe, like I said, this is where all these little reversals could come in on the indices. However, again, we need some I would like to see on DXY, for example, I'd like to see this index staying above the 102.65 territory. If it struggles to stay above it, then, well, maybe it could just form ourselves a nice little false breakout, and we could drift back down. So be very careful with that. Jumping into gold. Gold is now breaking this upside line taken from the low of the 16th of May. So I would say, yeah, this is not really looking good here for gold, and if it continues to trade below this upside line, I will aim lower. Initially, I'll target this 1828 level marked by the low of the 1st of June, which is the current lowest point of June. And if we clear that area, then of course this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and potentially more sellers could join in. For the upside, I would like to see a push above this 1870 territory right here. If we clear that, then I will go for the upside. Initially, of course, we could start looking at the upside if we jump above this 1858 territory right here, because at the same time we would be placed above the 200-day EMA. And then, yeah, we could go nicely higher here. But again, let's not rush into anything for now. We are breaking this upside line, so it's kind of, we are leaning a little bit to the downside. Now, jumping into WTI oil, guys. So, look at this. I mean, we have, again, somehow respected. I mean, maybe even the word respected is way too strong to say here, because we still violated the upper side of the rising channel. But as you can see here, we are trying to kind of climb, or not climb, but move back down. And so far the sellers are succeeding. So what I can say here is that basically need to this arrow is kind of working out. I mean, the idea was to see maybe a hold up near the upper side. I mean, we did kind of get a hold up. It's not ideal because I violated the upper side and then we drifted back down. So unfortunately these things happen. So I mean, it's never a perfect touch or a perfect, well, sometimes it is, but yeah, very, very rarely. Either way, guys, at the moment, yes, we are moving back down. I would say if we move below this little hurdle, let me just adjust, not this one, but this one right here, the 118, I think it's 117.64 area right here, which, as you can see, somehow it's doing its job and providing good resistance, then support. So if we drop below it, my next target is the highest point of 2011, which I keep on mentioning, the 114.79. But if that gets cleared, well, this is where more sellers could join in, guys. In terms of the upside, pretty straightforward. We need to see a push above this 120.96 territory, and then we will go for the upside, because such a move here would confirm a forthcoming higher high. Okay, Bitcoin. Yep, the tragedy continues in the crypto world. So, yep, as you can see, yesterday I talked about this and I said that wait, because in order to go for some higher levels, we still need to see a clear break through this downside line and maybe for a push somewhere above this area, above this 32,933 territory, somewhere around here, marked by the lowest point of January of this year. And yep, we're not really getting that. So let me actually mark this for our future reference. I think this could be quite useful. In general, this whole area could be quite useful. So yeah, there we go. At the moment, we're seeing a nice move back down towards this highlighted territory here, the area between the 28,800 and 29,300 levels. So we're currently testing the upper one, and well, the question is, can we drift lower? Well, at the moment, looking at this, this is forming somewhat of a descending triangle pattern, and can we get a break through this area? Well, again, like I said, let's wait and see. But at the moment, we did get this test, such a similar test last week as well. But as you can see, we rebounded. We kind of started moving sideways here. So basically wait for this to make a move, and then we can, take it from there. I mean, at the moment, it's not really looking quite positive. Probably a lot of crypto holders are not very happy right now, but well, everybody keeps on talking about that crypto winter or whatever. Let's see if we can actually, clear this level, and if we can go lower. If we can, then yes, what I said before, and I'll stick to my words, that in a way we could, if we do drop and stay below that this 28,800 level, somewhere around there, well, we could then start aiming lower, and maybe we could even reach this the highest point of 2017, the first big rally that we saw here in the crypto world. So yeah, maybe we could end up traveling there, and that's roughly around that 20,000 mark. Jumping into a few pairs, guys, very quickly. AUD USD. So let me zoom in here a little bit, and there we go. We are breaking this upside line. Initially we were breaking we were rebounding and pushing higher, but unfortunately, I would say for the AUD bulls, the RBA decided to increase the interest rate by more than expected. So in a way, although it should have been seen, maybe theoretically should be being seen as a positive. However, here we have a problem that the central bank is not seeing good it doesn't have a very good outlook on the market, and well, maybe this is where the Australian dollar as a risk currency is feeling the heat, and it's declining. And of course, not to mention the fact that the US dollar is also strengthening, and well, you have this big combination here of market pessimism appearing, and we are seeing a bit of a decline here. So let's see if we can stay below this upside line. If we can, then we could start looking at some lower levels. But at the moment, I'm going to keep an eye on the 0.7141 level here, because that's where I'm going to get a little bit more excited with the downside if we break this level, because at the same time we would drop below the 21-day EMA. AUD NZD also did have a nice push initially, but then the news came out and we saw a bit of a decline. However, this is looking a little bit more positive than negative, and to be honest, a few adjustments have to be made here. I think this line has to be redrawn. We could put something like this here for now. We have cleared this 1.1111 territory here, and we climbed above it, and at the moment we're trading still above it, but can we hold above it? Now that's a good question. If we do, then yeah, I'll continue aiming higher, but if we struggle with that, then we'll just have ourselves a nice false breakout, and maybe a bit of a retracement here back down could be possible. So keep that in mind. USD/JPY very quickly on that one, so this one's pushing higher, and at the moment, yep, everything's looking quite interesting here. If you remember, I talked about this and I said that if we push and stay above this 131.35 territory right here, this is what I talked about yesterday, then yeah, we could go for some higher levels. At the moment, everything's working out nicely here for the bulls, but don't get me wrong, at some point it will correct lower, but at the moment, well, let's see where that could happen. I'll jump into a monthly chart. A good target that I'm keeping an eye on here is this 135.16, but of course before that there might be an obstacle somewhere on the way higher. So one of them obstacles could be this one right here, the highest point of April of 2002, guys. So yeah, that level is around the 133.82 zone. So let's see if we can reach that. But again, I will keep an eye on this, and I will see if this can actually, retrace maybe first and then go to the upside again. But at the moment, with the strong dollar like that, yeah, it seems like it's one-way traffic. Or I wouldn't say strong dollar, the dollar, which is, the currency which is getting a little bit more stronger than others, and that's the US dollar. But again, let's see how this is going to play out. For now, I would say if it falls back below this 131.35 level, yep, we could maybe consider a bit of a retracement back down. USD CHF. So this one's also pushing nicely to the upside. As you can see here, I talked about this previously. I said that if we push higher, retrace back up here, test the 0.9671 territory, and then if it holds, we could see another slide, another decline. But the stronger dollar is doing its job right now, and it's pushing higher. So in other words, for now, I am keeping an eye on this barrier, the 0.9764. I mentioned this before. I need to see a nice good push above it in order to get comfortable with a possible move back to the upside. Until then, I'm just observing this, and I'm just watching how it's going to play out here. GBP USD. So drifting to the downside. So yeah, breaking this 1.2472 territory, and yep, my next, if it continues to trade below this, my next target is the 1.2329 level. I spoke about this before, and I'm going to stick to it. So yeah, in other words, yep, for now I am leaning towards the downside as long as it stays below this hurdle. If it doesn't, then I'll have to reevaluate things again. Euro JPY. So we're seeing a bit of a retracement right now. Okay, we did well, a small little one, because during the early hours of the Asian morning, we kind of pushed higher. As you can see here, we moved nicely to the upside. But what I wanted to say, that if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I started talking about this pair, and I said that wait for this exit here, wait for this move out, because we were coiling up, and well, look at this. I mean, look at this beautiful move. We broke the downside line, this barrier, the 136.80 zone, and well, we climbed. Not only did we climb to my target of the psychological 140 zone, but we overshot it and continued to push higher. So if if we, I would say at some point, yes, it will correct lower, but at the moment I am very careful here, because if we jump into a monthly chart, you can see that we managed to overcome this barrier. We are now trying to test something around here, I think, or actually we could go here towards the 144.77 level, but I'm going to be very careful. That's the inside swing low here, the lowest point of December of 2014. But let's see if we can stay actually above this highest point of I think that's no, that's not the highest point of June 2015. Let's see if we can stay above it. That's 141.05 level. If we can stay above it, then yep, that's great. More buyers could join in. But if we struggle, well, that's yeah, a bit of a, it could be a bit of a problem here, and we could see if we struggle to stay above it, then yeah, we could see a bit of a retracement here back down. Although, I mean, I wouldn't mind for that one, but again, the market doesn't always do what we want it to do, so just, you know, be very careful. Try to be as pragmatic as possible. Euro NZD, guys. So if you remember, I talked about this falling wedge pattern for a week now, and have been talking for a week now about this one, and I said that wait for it. So at the moment we are breaking the upper side of the falling wedge. The question is, can we stay above it? That if it's breaking, that's great, but let's say if by the end of the day, let's say if it struggles to remain above it and drifts back down, then we'll get ourselves a nice false breakout, and the pair could drift lower. At the moment, yes, it is breaking this downside line, so if we can stay above it, then I'll aim for some higher levels, and I'll aim for that 1.6842 level initially, and then we'll just take it from there. And finally, EURUSD. This one's drifting lower. Yesterday, if you remember, I talked about this maybe being a possible bullish flag here, but still a break of this 1.0787 level is needed, and that's why I'm always saying that, because as you can see here, it did try to push higher a little bit here, but then failed, and yeah, the dollar started strengthening. We saw it drift lower. We moved nicely to the downside, but we are resting above this 21-day EMA. So I'm going to take a very careful approach in here, because I mean, if we somehow rebound from this 21-day EMA and push higher, maybe this could open the door towards the upside. However, still, I would prefer to wait for a push above this 1.0787 territory first, and then go for higher levels. For the downside, I would like to see a drop below the 1.0636 territory right here, and then yes, we could go a bit lower. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that one, guys. Keeping an eye on these two levels right here. So that's it for this session, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your views, your likes, your comments, guys. I really do. So thank you for that. If you want to, for example, if you want me to cover an instrument of some sort, you can always leave a comment below the video, and yeah, I'll pick it up on my next video, in my next video, and yeah, we can go from there. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you'll have a wonderful trading day, guys. Stay safe and have your stop losses in place. Thank you very much, and bye.